when it comes to masturbation, there's or just orgasm in general, I feel like there's this notion, and I don't know what school of thought it comes from. I feel like maybe it's like Ayurveda, Chinese medicine. I'm not 100% sure, but I've heard that when orgasming, this is something that depletes men of their energy and charges women up. And so you kind of see online now, especially with the trad movement, there's like this push towards semen retention and things like that. Are any of these like topics familiar to you?
Of course.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I started out in Tantra.
Elaborate, please.
And so I joke oftentimes, like the Tantrikas are like, yes, you can ejaculate as long as you draw the sexual energy out of the semen and you're pulling it up through your spine and enlightening the brain and bathing the brain in that energy.
I don't know what any of that means. So wait, semen, as far as I know, the urethra is a one-way street, and semen's only coming out.
They can ejaculate.
Ejaculate.
Yeah. So there is a way to learn how to ejaculate, to pull it back. And so the yogis would start with like water, honey, and then they would use milk and draw it through the urethra back up and in. And so this was a practice that the yogis would do. But this is energetic. So semen could still come out your penis, but now you've pulled the energy, the vital life force out of the semen and drawn it up the spine and into the brain. So,
interesting. And this is Tantra.
This is Tantra.
Got it.
And so in Daoism, however, then they're like, nope, you only get so many ejaculations in a lifetime. Once you've ejaculated them all out, this is the end. You've only got so much jing, and then it's gone. So, the Taoist doesn't seem so fun. And I had some clients who were Taoists who practiced this very religiously, and they got infections a lot because I think we're supposed to ejaculate. Like it's healthy for us to ejaculate and to have the fluid move, not just stay stagnant. So, 100%. I don't ascribe to that as much. I think that it's okay to practice every now and then and learn the techniques and learn how to draw the energy through and learn how to be able to last as long as you want to, and have control over that ejaculatory response. And then we have like the shamanic viewpoint, and the shamans are like, let's ejaculate and celebrate life. Let's like ejaculate as much as possible, throw a party. How can we play with that even more in terms of creating different states of consciousness and celebration of life.
Interesting.
And so I think we can play with all three. It's really about finding what works for you. And I've seen everything in my practice. So from the Taoists, I've seen a lot of Tantrikas. I've seen a lot of people who are like, yeah, ejaculate. I need to ejaculate a lot and celebrate this. And it really comes down to like, what's your biochemistry? What blueprint are you even, and how all of this can play together. I had a client who every time he ejaculated, he would get major prolactin and not be able to like sleepy, couldn't get an erection for weeks. And so that can be effective to learn then how to do semen retention because the biochemistry is affected so much by ejaculating. And ejaculation and orgasm are different. I think that this is something that a lot of people don't know is that they're controlled by two different parts of the nervous system. And so you can learn how to separate ejaculation from orgasm and become multi-orgasmic, even if you have a cock, and so women too, we learn to ejaculate. And I think for women, it's been more separate, and we're learning now how to combine orgasm and ejaculation. And for heterosexual men, it has been more like we've had this mixed together of these two things. When
you say female like ejaculation, are you talking about squirting?
Squirting, that is what I'm talking about. Yes.
Is that a myth, or does that actually
not
happen?
A myth? No,
no.
No, it's not pee.
It's not pee
at all. No, it's prostate specific antigen in it.
I've met women who claim to squirt, and not even they know what it is.
Yeah. Well, they should research more about what it is. I think we need more sex education research anyway. I mean, we need to look at these things. But it has prostate-specific antigen in it, it has glucose in it. So it is not pee. It can have some urine in it just because it's coming through the urethra. But same thing, we have a urethral sponge that the urethra runs through. And inside of that sponge, there are these little paraurethral ducts and glands. And so what will happen is that sponge fills up with fluid, and then it empties into the tube. Now, for a lot of people, they gush, they don't squirt. And so gushing is more like you just get super, super wet all of a sudden. And if you're squirting, then you have to like time that kind of right to where
I like the hand gestures.
Yeah. This is my inside the vagina hand.
Is that where the G-spot is?
Yes.
The female G-spot?
It's the urethral sponge.
Interesting.
And so for those of you who can see me, I have my fingers and I'm demonstrating kind of like an ejaculatory technique would be to stimulate that urethral sponge. You can also thump on it really hard. That can do it as well. But only do that if somebody's super, super aroused.
Okay.
And then to time it, if they're going to squirt, you have to pull those fingers out so the urethra is not blocked. And then push out. The person who's receiving has to push out, and then that will create squirt. I've also seen people who ejaculate copious amounts of fluid where it's like buckets of water.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
But to me, I mean, I've never personally seen that, so it's like kind of it's like Bigfoot.
Right.
You know, I've heard of it.
It's like Bigfoot.
But I've never actually seen it. But I'd be down. I'd be down to see it.
Well, I hope
Sounds
you have
like a good
Bigfoot
time.
sighting somewhere in your lifetime.
Yeah. Me too. You and me both.
Yeah, but this is something we demonstrate. So we show like.
So all women are capable.
Everybody has a plumbing. So as long as you have the plumbing, then you're capable of having gushes, squirts, ejaculations, injaculations, copious amounts. I mean, but some people are just a little different.
Wow.
You know, just in their makeup. And also I think it's a psychological thing. So many people are afraid of peeing that they squeeze. And then when I learned to have an orgasm, I would pull up. And I think people who have vulva bodies pull up and squeeze when they're having an orgasm. And so we don't think about pushing out. And so I had to learn to do the opposite. Instead of pulling my orgasm up and through my body, I had to learn to push out at the moment of orgasm so that the ejaculation came with the orgasm.
So you're speaking to a lot of women right now. What should they do? They should push out the next time they're experiencing?
If you're interested, I mean, I think, so this is the interesting thing about talking about orgasmic possibilities. I think people think something's wrong with them if they're not experiencing it. And I just want to say, you're not wrong. You're not broken if you're not having these kinds of experiences. It's just nobody's teaching you all of these things.
Yeah, but you're teaching us like these like Easter eggs like built into our own bodies. It's so cool.
It is so cool. You have lots of Easter eggs.
I mean, it's amazing.
And so when I talk about it, it's just to share what's possible. A lot of times at our events, we'll talk about or demonstrate something that's possible, and then everybody starts to experience it. And it's only because it's like the 4-minute mile. You know, Roger Bannister ran that 4-minute mile, and then 36 people that year ran it, whereas before it hadn't been done. And I think that's the interesting thing is that 36 people ran it in that same year.
It's kind of like the concept of simultaneous invention. It's
exactly.
It's like that. It's evidence in a way of a collective consciousness.
And then it becomes into the consciousness, and then now it's a possibility. So then it's contagious.
Amazing.
So I want all orgasms to become contagious.
Same.
We can all have genital sneezes with ejaculations if we want to.
Hey, if you liked that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.